This episode is a Patreon exclusive. Thank you for being a Patreon member. Enjoy.
Patreon.
Baby, you are gonna go broke showing turkeys like these.
Now we're talking turkey.
Gobble, gobble, motherfucker.
It's turkey time. Gobble, gobble.
Kids are getting ready. You think they're insane. In the street, night's coming, and they'll never be the same. Look out for the darkness. Hold on to your soul. It's a call of the wild, and it's called rock and roll. Call of the night. The streets are calling, stealing from the light. Shadows are calling. It's the power of the night. The streets are calling. Power of the night.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Let's Talk Turkeys. I'm your host, Movie Miss, and my co-host, Drivin' Dave, is off this week.
Bastard.
I I am tackling not a mammoth of a franchise, but there's a few entries. We're going to do a ranking episode, and I couldn't do it alone, so I did bring on some of my new friends in the podcast business, but dare I say, favorite new friends in the podcast business. This is Nyx Eclipse and Obi Ben Shinobi of Cinema Shitshow. Welcome, fellas.
But there's no need for formalities. It's just Nyx. It's just Nyx.
Well, in case the listeners want to, know who you are.
No one needs that.
Oh, your mom loves the full deal, dude.
So at the end, we will let everybody know where to find you. But if you just now want to let everybody know, let all the listeners know about your show and what you all do over there.
Well, we're the Cinema Shit Show. The shit show is not the movies necessarily, because the movies can be really good. It's me and Ben that are the absolute shit show. We don't know what the fuck we're doing. We just kind of make everything up. We don't edit a lot of stuff. We talk about a lot of underground, underseen, low budget B movie stuff, or sometimes not even low budget B movie stuff, but just like crazy shit. And we laugh a lot. We're like a loving family. We like to laugh together.
But also, like families, we also yell at each other too. So
yeah, we don't always agree. I was ganged up on when I brought Day of the Animals. I was ganged up on when I brought The Evil Within. Like sometimes Ben sides with the guest. You fucker.
well, I don't take sides. I'm just honest.
Exactly. We do not hold back. Does that explain us? Miss, you know us. So does that
explains you pretty well. I will tell the listeners, if you haven't listened to previous episodes, I did have Nyx on for the Friday the 13th ranking episodes. So if you got a taste of that, that's his personality, 100% unfiltered, but very knowledgeable, which is why I wanted you guys here for this one. And I'm so happy, Ben, that you could join us today. We're doing the Critters movies, which honestly, I had never seen a single one until we had to do it for the show. So
Same.
Really?
Yeah, no, this is all my first times.
Okay, so then Nyx, you've seen them previously, so maybe you can fill us in on your just an overall feel for the movies when you first saw them, if you liked them, what was it like revisiting, just kind of your overall on Critters.
Oh yeah, okay. So Critters came out in 1986. I was in a small town over in Illinois called Waterloo, and we had a very tiny theater. It had one screen. It's where I saw a lot of great films, and this was one of them where my parents just went, "Here's a movie that you could just we'll drop you off and you go watch this." And the movie the original was set in a small town like where I grew up. So I really connected a lot with the small town and the family dynamics and all of that. And it's a horror movie, but it's a sci-fi movie. I fucking fell in love with it, and I would rent it multiple times afterwards. And then they came out with a sequel. I actually got to see the sequel in the theater as well. It was like
Wow.
bigger and crazier, and just absolutely exactly what I would have wanted. And then it kind of moved on over into the straight to VHS with part 3 and 4. And I did keep following it, but nothing ever hit those two highs like the very first two. So I've been a big fan. And then of course, there's two additional entries. There's the Critters Attack, which is made for the Sci-Fi Channel, and then they did a web series that eventually premiered on Shudder. That was like 8 episodes, and I never saw either of those until now. So thank you for helping me complete my Critters collection.
Be a completist now. Okay. Ben, your overall thoughts now, having seen all things Critters. What do you think?
I'm a big fan. It's like Gremlins on steroids or Gremlins for adults. I love the creatures. I especially love the subtitles of what they're saying. It's really, really funny. Some great special effects. The first one is very dark. It's definitely played more straightforward as a horror, but the second and the third ones are really funny and it feels intentional. So well, we're gonna do the rankings, but in this series, I definitely lean towards the funnier ones than the darker one. That's just my personal preference. But yeah, it's great. I'm shocked that I never saw them. Something that I definitely would have liked, but there's just so many movies and it's hard to watch everything, and I just never. I'm a completist, so once I start a franchise, I have to finish it, and that's usually why I have just kind of stayed away from a lot of franchises over the years, just because it's like a daunting task sometimes. So like I just finished Hellraiser, I think it was last year. I've seen a ton of horror, but I haven't seen every franchise. So I'm glad that I finally got to check this off my list.
I'm with you. I was happy I finally got to see them. I got a smoking deal off Amazon. I think I paid like $7 or $8 for a DVD with all four of the movies on it.
That's amazing.
Yes.
So that was great. It was a blind spot for me. I grew up loving all these kinds of movies, the cheesy horrors and whatnot, but I just never got around to it. And then you forget about it as time goes by. And like you said, there's not enough time in the day to be watching everything.
Yeah.
I think and I think a lot of people look at it not being there, like and being there when it was released and all that. A lot of people just go, "Oh, it's a Gremlins ripoff," and is the way that everybody kind of looks at it. And I think this came up in our discussion with Nick for Ghoulies. Both Ghoulies and Critters were both in the works before Gremlins ever came out. So they may have tweaked it a little bit, when they actually got closer to production to kind of, okay, let's up the antics a bit and make it a little bit more gremlin-y. But this was stuff that somebody actually had come up with and wanted to produce beforehand. And I think that really shines through. It's not a typical, if you want a typical Gremlins ripoff, you're going to go watch Munchies with Harvey Korman.
Yeah, for sure.
Or what was the one on Mystery Science Theater? Hobgoblins.
I haven't seen that.
It's crazy.
Goblins.
So for Critters, we're covering the films. I didn't just want to do one or two as a normal episode. I thought we would have fun doing the franchise because they are all turkeys. Let's start with number one.
Of all the planets in the galaxy, they chose ours. They hide in small places. This phone is dead.
What?
They like the dark.
Jay, any luck?
Just a minute. There's nothing cute about them. They've come a long way, and they're hungry.
Dad's all torn up and Mom's got
critters. They bite.
We've got a Rotten Tomato critic score of the highest of all of them, 51% for critics and a 45% for audiences. For me, I ranked this number one of the four, and I waited until I watched all four and really sat with them for a day or two, and then I ranked them. Number one is number one for me. Where did you guys put it?
It's number 2 for me.
So here's where my dilemma comes in. I love number one, and for a lot of the reasons that I said before, I really connected with that family dynamic and the small town thing. I don't know if you may not have grown up like that, but like if you've ever seen The Day After, where the missiles are coming out of the cornfields and shit, that's basically where I grew up. So that kind of hit me hard, and this one hit me hard like that too. But the second one is so funny. It is so entertaining. I keep juggling the first and the two. The first one and the second one. I guess I'm gonna have to go with number one as number one.
Oh, okay. Well, you can have them both, shared.
No, I gotta pick.
Right.
So we're going with number one.
So I will say I really struggled with going between number 2 and number 3. So I think that number 1 is the best movie, but I think that for me, entertainment wise, it's not the best movie. I had it in the beginning, I had it at number 3 actually.
Wow.
But I decided that the quality of the movie and how well it's done, it has to at least be number 2. So, but I had it as low as number 3.
So
Wow.
now I'm lost. Where did you put it?
At number 2.
Okay.
No, but I'm saying for the longest time, I had it at number 3. I decided in the end that the quality was too much to like push it down that far.
You got to respect the craftsmanship.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, that's what it came down to.
Speaking of getting it made, let's run through a few stats here real quick. They had a $3 million budget, did $13 million at the box office. 1986 was the release, and it stars Dee Wallace, M. Emmett Walsh. We get Lynn Shay, Billy Zane, and Ethan Phillips as the top cast. We've got Bob Shea executive producing. Stephen Herrick, is it, directed?
Directed Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Yeah, and wrote this with a couple other people.
Don Opper, who shepherded the series from Beyond here. He's Charlie. All right, we'll get to that, I'm sure.
Oh, perfect.
You also forgot Billy Zane's ponytail.
His hair should get honorable mention, right?
It has to be an honorable mention.
In fact, also honorable mention goes to Johnny Steele's frosted hair.
Oh, yes.
That's amazing in this.
We all Scott Grimes. Scott Grimes was kind of a familiar face back in the day.
Yeah, he was in a lot of stuff. But I know him more as an adult doing things now. So when I saw him pop up, I was like, oh my God, he looks pretty much the same. So IMDb plot for Critters is a group of small but vicious alien creatures called Krites escape from an alien prison transport vessel and land near a small farm town on Earth, pursued by 2 shape-shifting bounty hunters.
That is true.
I would say that sums it up, yeah.
That's a good plot synopsis.
That is what you're in for. I have to say, my favorite thing in this whole movie, critter vision. When we get the POV of them moving and doing things, that is my favorite thing in this movie.
Mainly when they're like rolling around, I think it's
fantastic.
I loved it. It was so surprising, and Ben had brought this up. Sometimes they will subtitle the critters like talking to each other. And at one point, one of them says "fuck."
Yeah.
So I'm like, what am I, like 12 years old sitting in a theater and I see the word fuck on the big screen? It was great. It was so liberating.
Did you do research, either of you, to see how they came up with the critter language?
No, I'm really disappointed in myself. I did not research as much as I usually do. I'm leaving it up to you, miss.
I got you, bro. I looked it up. Corey Burton came up with a mix of French and Japanese.
Ooh.
Whoa.
And that is the Krite language.
Interesting.
So I mean that's what was I gonna say? Okay, never mind. I'm jumping ahead. I'm jumping like 4
You're-
No,
movies
but
ahead.
now, so does that stay through the entire franchise, or is that only for the first one?
It stays through the franchise. I noticed. I thought when they were speaking, it sounded exactly the same to me all the way through.
Okay, so that actually makes sense because there were a couple of words that sounded Japanese to me, and I was like, oh, that just has to be like an accident.
No?
Here, I mean, here's the thing: like, if this was just a regular Gremlins ripoff, those are just animals, but these are a complete species that travel through space. They have their own, their own language. They're highly intelligent, and I think we also find out, like, if it's not in this movie, it's probably in the second one, that once they're hatched, they automatically have all of this knowledge in their brains. They don't have to learn anything. They're like hyper intelligent from birth.
Yes. And they also knew Earth was called Earth. The bounty hunters and the Krites. And I'm like, how?
On the map.
Does anybody think that potentially their inspiration was from the creatures in Star Trek, the original Star Trek?
You mean the trouble with tribbles thing?
Yeah.
Tribbles.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, but I like that these are also porcupine-esque with the little hard quills that can pierce your skin.
Yeah.
That freaked me out. Yes.
They're gonna put you on a fucking nice trip.
That freaked me out in this, honestly. In the first one, I was like, ooh, that hurts.
Right, because you see like a furry ball coming at you. What are you gonna do? You're gonna kick it. But if
Are you?
I'm saying hairy balls. I love to kick hairy balls myself.
That's your first instinct? A furry ball's coming at you, and your instinct is to kick it?
No, to keep it away from me. I mean, obviously it's attacking, right? But if that hairy ball then like stops and shoots a quill at you that knocks you out, you're fucked.
Oh my god. My instinct would be to see if I see a cute little furry ball rolling toward me, I'd want to pet it. Yours is kick it.
I love animals, god damn it.
Listen, I don't pet hairy balls, okay?
Oh,
so
just the tip.
Let's talk about the effects in this movie, shall we? Because I was extremely impressed with the weird Hellraiser melty effects and how the critters looked for 85, 86. What'd you guys think?
Oh, fucking amazing. The Kyoto brothers, that are mainly the ones responsible for the critters effects. They're astounding. They're the guys that made Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
That explains a lot.
On a super low budget. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course you'll see one of the killer clowns in Ernest Scared Stupid as well. They just kind of repainted it. And yes, that whole transmogrifying scene and whatnot, it's very obvious. Like they basically just took like a wax dummy and like shot heat at it, so it looked like it was melting and revealing, the musculature and all that. But it's so weird to see that in a, what was this, PG-13? Yeah, just to see something like that going on. It was pretty graphic. Like the whole movie, like when it starts out, it starts out in space. Like nobody expected that. And it's absolutely insane. But yeah, the Kyoto brothers, with what they pull off with their puppetry and all of that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I was super impressed. It held up very well. I mean, for this being in the mid 80s, I think that the special effects on some levels are probably better than some of the stuff you see now. Very impressive. I really like the creature's design, which, kind of fades away down the line, but in the first, at least 2 or 3, it's pretty solid. My favorite thing is the eyes, actually. I just really like those red eyes. I love when they like are hiding somewhere and then you just see like the red eyes. I thought that was a really cool thing that they decided to do. I really like that.
Well, because
there's some good beats in here for that, for directing. It makes you a little tense and nervous, like where are they? And then you see these beady little eyes glowing. Yeah.
especially in the basement scene where the dad goes down to try to see
Oh, yeah.
what's going on, and it's up on the shelf. It's on the shelf already, but the movie hasn't confirmed it, and then just briefly you see those two red eyes, and it's like, oh fuck, he is fucked. And again, that's because this movie plays it really seriously a lot of the times until you bring in like the bounty hunters, and then there's a lot of humor there.
The bounty hunters having no face in the beginning was creepy as fuck. And then they look up Earth people on their monitor as reference to look like that so they'll blend in. But the one guy picks a supposedly famous rock star to model his look after. I'm like, wouldn't that be weird? Wouldn't he be smart enough to know better not to draw attention to himself? I guess not.
They're not the brightest. They are not the brightest in the galaxy. Neither of them. And by the way, their names, one is named Ugg and the other one is named Lee.
Oh, I didn't even
Ugly.
pick up on that.
I didn't pick that up either. I was obsessed with Ugg's hair, his rock star frosted tip wig or whatever it is.
Oh my god.
I think I found the music video for that on YouTube here. I'll send it to you guys. That's
amazing.
The rock star guy. His name's like Johnny something or
it is Johnny Steele.
Johnny Steele, yes. And then the other one can't decide on what he wants to be. Lee cannot decide. So he actually arrives on Earth without a face, and he just starts stealing faces from everybody else,
which was really creepy to me. Again, this movie, like Ben said, it's the least funny of all of them. It tries to be more serious, and a lot of the things I found creepy, even in holding up. And like you said again, Ben, 86, it holds up. The effects to me, I'm practical effects all day, every day, twice on Sunday. Yeah. So I loved that they went for practical stuff. There's creepy elements. It really did it for me. In fact, when I was trying to write down my favorite kill and looking back in the movie, I'm like, there weren't a whole lot of kills. So I had to go with critter deaths. Not the human deaths. My favorite kill was anytime a critter bit the big one. It was just fun because they were all different.
Right. I think there's one scene in here where I went, okay, this was definitely put in after Gremlins, and that's the shenanigan scene where they're bopping around and doing shit. I think it's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's like, I could tell at that point, like with the rest of the movies, there's always got to be a shenanigan scene, I'm sure.
Well, when they cut to one of them, he's looking at dolls, and there's an ET doll.
And he's talking to it.
I loved that.
Yeah. That's such a good nod.
I think that with the scene we were just talking about, where the dad goes down into the cellar, trying to figure out what's going on with the electricity, it's hiding in the shelves, and I think that might have been kind of like a throwback to, like, remember when E.T. hid in the closet with all like the stuffed animals and shit like that. It's not a dumb movie. It's they really put a lot of thought into everything that they did here.
Agreed. What did you guys have as your favorite kill?
Well, I'm going to go with when the two critters roll up to each other outside the house, and they're shooting the guns at them, and they go, "Hey, they have weapons." And the other one goes, "So what?" And then the other one gets blown away, and the other guy goes, "Fuck."
So you went with critter death as well.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
that's my favorite as well. It's just too good.
Yeah, humans dying, I couldn't have really cared that much.
No.
Yeah, and there's not much you can do with like a critter deaths. They jump on you, they bite you, and that's it. So they only really get creative with like the critters themselves, I think.
Yeah. So who did you peg for your favorite in this movie? Who was your favorite character?
Well, did Ben ever pick his favorite death? He didn't pick his favorite death. Dude, you can't skip the question. Play by the rules. He agreed
with you. He liked the critters too.
Okay.
Billy Zane's hair.
Oh my god.
I really like Scott Grimes' character in this film.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Wow.
Because he was just like me at that point. I really connected with it. I was about the same age, I guess. The second movie, not so much, but this one, I really do kind of identify with him a lot, growing up in that kind of family and that kind of where he's coming from. I think that's where a lot of my love for the first one comes from, is that I see a lot of my own life in it. And also that it's a lot darker.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Favorite character, Ben? You can't say Billy Zane's hair.
No.
Like, who did you care about when you were watching this?
I think I like the daughter.
Interesting. Okay.
I think she was probably my favorite.
So I went with the mom
Oh, okay.
because Dee Wallace, and she starts out as a what the fuck is going on and turns into let's get the hell out of this and kick some ass.
Mhm.
So I kind of liked she had a mini arc
Yeah.
as much as you can in a movie like this.
Right.
So let's transition though over to least favorite character now. I
Charlie.
have you, Charlie. You have Charlie. This is so funny because Nix's favorite is your least. Your favorite is my least. I don't like the whore daughter
Oh, wow.
because she's trying to molest.
Judgmental bitch.
Because she's trying to molest poor Billy Zane in the barn.
Oh,
He's like,
poor
slow
Billy
down,
Zane.
bitch. Slow the fuck down. He's trying to
Poor
be
Billy Zane.
He's trying to be respectful.
Oh, okay.
Plus,
Yes. No, I mean, that's small town dynamics. I mean, that's kind of how it worked at that point, you know? I mean, I didn't lose my virginity until I was 18 years old.
well, same, but I didn't grow up in a small town.
Right. Well, okay. Well, I'm not saying that all people that live in cities are harlots. I'm just saying.
Just me.
You didn't have a scarlet letter on your jacket?
Oh, not in my town.
It's just, I mean, that's kind of the way it is, you know? It's like, unless you're a fucking creep trying to get in everybody's pants, that's kind of what you did. You were just kind of like, yeah, let's take it slow. Yeah.
Well, who was your least favorite, Nix?
Oh, shit. Oh, man, it's my turn.
Who'd you hate?
I'm gonna go for
Charlie.
no. I like Charlie.
I don't like Charlie.
Love-hate relationship with Charlie.
I'm probably gonna go with Harv. I don't think I liked the sheriff very much.
He seemed a tad inept to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just didn't care.
So one last thing here I wanted to throw out for my notes was I was a little disappointed. I liked the movie overall. Obviously, I ranked it number 1, but I was a little disappointed that we get Charlie, the town ne'er-do-well. I mean, who is he exactly?
Drunk. He's the town drunk.
Town drunk.
Yeah.
Ends up stepping up to really become a main player in the whole franchise. So we get Chekhov's pitching arm in the beginning with him. Where you're just sure that throwing fireworks and being able to throw them far is going to come into play in the third act, but it doesn't really. It's kind of a letdown. Did you all catch that or pick up on that at all? Or is it just me who was let down by that?
I mean, it was obviously like, you know, the whole fireworks and all of that was definitely set up at the beginning between Charlie and what was the kid's name?
Ginger.
What? God, they have no souls. Brad. It's kind of set up. I don't remember it not paying off. I mean, they did toss a giant firecracker in there, right?
Not so much though. I expected because they were making a big stink about his pitching arm.
Oh, he could have been a contender.
Could have been.
No, you mentioned that. Yeah, Charlie shows up in all these other movies. He also co-wrote, or not co-wrote, but he wrote additional scenes for this film. And then from here, he became like the producer, and he produced all the sequels, including
that makes sense.
The Sci-Fi Channel and the TV show. He's always been involved, which is really kind of cool. I mean, it's like he really cared about this, enough to keep it alive for this long, for better or worse.
Right, but that's why I think that's the only reason I think he's in the other movies is because of that. Like, I don't think that they would have kept that character around. Do you?
Part 2, I think they would have.
Yeah.
I feel like it lends to stringing them all together in the continuity, because we'll get to it here in a second. The movies veer off into different directions and locales, and I feel like if you didn't have him as the one thing that ties them all together, they'd really feel scattered.
True. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it does start to seem like a stretch in part 3. Part 4 makes a little bit more sense, but only because of how they ended part 3. But yeah, there wasn't really a reason for him to be in part 3 except for I'm producer and I also probably helped write it, so I gotta be in the movie, y'all.
Right.
Fucking great movie. Everybody should check it out. It's not what you're expecting if you're just expecting a Gremlins ripoff. It is its own unique beast, and it's really creative. Definitely doing yourself a disservice if you do not give it a chance.
I agree. This is a must watch for any horror fans.
My last note, my takeaway is I have this weird thing. It's a me problem where I can't look at abnormalities in nature or on people, growths, holes like honeycomb. I know there's a word for people who have a phobia.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
have an extreme phobia, but I don't like to look at abnormal looking things. And to me, when the critters all ball up into that big ball together
Oh yeah.
and they're rolling towards something, I can't look at it. I had to avert my eyes.
Oh my
Well,
God.
It just looked so weird with all these pieces protruding from this big ball as it's rolling. It was creepy as fuck.
that's
thought you were
part
gonna
two.
Oh, well,
I
that's
thought you were
perfect
gonna
because we're
I
moving
thought
on
you
to
were gonna say Billy Zane's hair because that's
Oh
a,
my god.
that's an abnormality.
that
Well,
man does not need that hair. He looks fantastic bald.
I'm gonna tell you a story about Billy Zane and Ben here. We watched the movie, and after Billy Zane died, at one point Ben was like, "Where's Billy Zane in this movie?" And I'm like, "Dude, he's the one that just died." He couldn't even recognize him. He was so young and he had hair. So Ben
It's
didn't even know
weird.
he'd been in the movie. But I do want to point one thing out because you brought up the critter ball, which we're gonna get to in part 2, which was amazing. In this one, the more they eat, the bigger they get. Right. And eventually at the end, there is a giant critter. Like it's like bigger than a person stomping around and like smashing through doors and stuff like that. I think they kind of abandoned that a little bit
Well,
going on from here.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I thought that was Ugg shapeshifted into a big critter to infiltrate what they were doing.
You're conflating part 1 with part 2.
Am
Yeah,
I?
that's in part 2.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I really am because I watched them back to back.
That's the scene with the meat factory.
Well, then let's jump to that then because I'm
A hungry
mixing them up.
heifer. We
So
won't give you bum steer.
Grover's Bend. It's just a speck on the map of the universe. Transform. They get a different class of tourist here. Company's coming. Noisier. Pushier. They're turning this peaceful little town into dinner. Critters 2.
I can't hear you. Can anybody out there hear me?
We need a sheriff.
Go check the elevator. Those hungry hairballs from outer space are on a roll.
Let's just get help. Oh, who are we gonna call? Critter Busters? These guys are great.
And they'll eat anything.
We're going to end up tomorrow's leftovers.
There must be hundreds of them.
Critters 2, the main course.
You got nothing to lose but your lives.
yeah, there was so much comedy in part 2. I did rank part 2 as number 2 in my rankings. It was delightful to me with all the humor. PG-13 came out in 1988. It was called Critters 2: The Main Course
Nice.
because they eat. $4 million budget, and it did 3.8 respectively at the box office.
Oh, it's so disappointing.
So for you, Ben, this was your favorite.
This is my number 1, yeah.
Why?
Just the humor is it's so funny. Like this movie is so entertaining. It keeps all the same cool stuff from the first one, but just the humor is amped up. And I really love horror comedies if they're done well. And this one is up near the top for me of like horror comedies.
Okay, Nix.
Yeah, it's number 2 for me as well. like I say, it's hard for me to do my Sophie's choice between one or two because I love the darkness of one, but I love the lighthearted comedy. And the funny thing is, so this is directed by Mick Garris. Mick Garris is most famous for being the go-to guy for adapting Stephen King to television. He's that guy.
He also directed Sleepwalkers, which controversial, one of my favorite Stephen King movies.
Oh my lord, Clovis is coming.
Clovis, get the bad guys.
I have not seen it.
Oh, it's insane, dude.
Watch party.
Yes, let's do it.
All right.
It's absolutely incestuously insane.
I feel like it would work for either of our shows.
Yes. This was like what I think this was his first directorial thing. But he said in an interview that he wanted to make it scarier than the first. And sir and or madam, I have to tell you, you went the opposite direction. This movie is fucking hilarious. The Easter Bunny scene. It's just
Oh my god,
the all-time greatest things I've ever seen happen in a movie.
It's incredible.
So, for anybody that doesn't know, the IMDb plot of this one, eggs from the small but voracious alien creatures called krites get left behind on Earth after hatching. They set their appetites on a small farm town in Grover's Bend. So we get returning cast, like you said, Scott Grimes, and he's what, 16 now we're supposed to be, give or take. Charlie's back, Lynn Shay's back, M. Emmett Walsh, even though he retired as sheriff, right?
No. M. Emmett Walsh is not in here. He's replaced by Barry Corbin.
Oh, okay. But the
They
character
look
then.
similar. The character's
character.
back, yes.
And then, one note on Mick Garris I wanted to say I found was that he was doing the critters' voices, or at least one of the main critters. And I thought, if I was the director, fuck yeah, I'd do that too. I want to be a critter's voice.
The funny thing about the sheriff character, so he's retired because nobody believes him and nobody believes Scott that this actually happened. And it's like, my dudes, let me break this down for you. Two weirdos with laser guns showed up at the bowling alley and fucked shit up. One of them smashed into the church and then stole the face of the priest. So nobody in this town is gonna believe these people. Whatever, it gets.
I found that a stretch, yeah.
But hey, as long as we got critters too, I'm happy.
So my question was, obviously, because Scott Grimes grew up a bit, several years have passed. So why are the eggs that got left behind just now hatching?
I think Ben just got activated because do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah.
So we think the reason why is because they needed heat to hatch.
Yes. They were in the barn or whatever in the shade. So once they got taken out, they got put next to like a space heater and it warmed them up and then they hatched. Yeah, I didn't get it myself either. And if you look at that space heater, it's like the most fucking Dario Argento looking space heater you've ever seen. It's like glowing red from within and shit. It's really obvious. So I don't know how I didn't notice.
Yeah, they definitely highlighted that space heater to like kind of clue you into that, I think.
So some of the things in this movie, like you mentioned, it leans into comedy. I had to write down some quotes and some things because it's gross, but it's also hilarious to me how this movie had so much green goo, like more green goo than pod people.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
When the dad steps on the freshly hatched critter and just goo everywhere. Like, how do you not notice that you stepped on it? How do you not notice it's on your shoe? Bits of critter that you're tracking bits of critter in the house. Like, what is going on there? But again, the special effects, this kind of ratchets it up a notch, and it's over the top goo and everything. I love that.
Is it wrong that I felt bad for the baby critter?
No, because you're an animal person.
That's right. And again, it's the Kyoto brothers again returning. This time they had a little bit of a bigger budget. It's a shame that didn't make its budget back. But I actually got to meet these guys at a Fangoria convention one time, and they had their kids with them, and they had their kids wearing Killer Clown t-shirts, and I'm just like, that's so fucking cute.
Oh, that's cool. So a few things that made me laugh is weird lines that only I don't know were of the time, like when the one lady says, or I forget who said it, inquiring minds want to know.
Oh yes, yes.
That was such a quote of the time, which now it's just like, oh, okay. But because I'm old, I remember, and so that made me laugh really hard.
I don't think the
Yeah.
National Enquirer exists anymore. Does it still exist?
I don't think so.
I don't
Okay.
think so. No.
My grandma used to have those like delivered, and I would, you know,
You were a
everybody
young
remembers.
inquiring mind.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, I can't believe she believes this shit. Um,
Was that the one that had like the wild
Bat
headline?
Boy, Bat
Bat
Boy.
Boy? Okay.
Yeah,
I have a very funny story related
Princess
to this.
Diana gave birth to an alien.
Oh yeah. So I have a funny story about National Enquirer. I'm the oldest of 8 kids, and the first 4 of us were at the store with my mom, and we're getting in line.
The
And
first 4 of the 45 different brothers and sisters he has.
yes, yes. So getting in the line at the grocery store, and that Bat Boy issue was out. Well, my brother was so scared of it, and we took his head and we held it and we made him look at it, and he was screaming. And
I bet your mom loved that.
we literally held his head, and then he tried to close his eyes, and we like went like the Clockwork Orange and like forced his eyes open. And we were like, "Bat Boy is gonna get you."
Did you fuck with him later when you got home about it?
Oh, we talked about Bat Boy for years after that. He did not. He was not happy about it.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Anyways, sorry to sidetrack.
No, that's amazing.
Kind of what we do.
We're bringing the shit show to you.
Oh, so let's talk what happens in this movie.
Wait, did you have more lines that you wanted to point out besides
oh,
that one?
the Jimmy Olsen with breasts for the reporter girl.
Yes.
Again, if you know who Jimmy Olsen is, it's funny.
Hmm.
I like the oh great, it's the Easter Bunny with his choppy. What the fuck is that word? Oh great, it's the Easter Bunny with his something hanging out.
Oh,
They say some weird word.
Takati.
Takati?
I think that's like a fermented pineapple drink, but I don't know if it was referring to a pineapple.
I don't know what they said that
What?
word, but I cracked up when because he's trying to get in the Easter Bunny costume and is zipping the crotch up.
Ah,
We
yes.
talked about that when we saw it.
We did.
It's
I
just weird.
can't remember. Yeah, that's what an odd reference.
Yeah, so those are the quotes of note that made me giggle. But I want to talk characters. I want to talk your favorite character because in this one, what happens is Scott Grimes comes home, but his folks, Dee Wallace and his dad aren't here. It's his nana. He comes to stay with his nana, his grandma. She was my favorite character. She wasn't in it enough, but she was a delight.
Well, she's like a vegetarian or something, and like is always talking about how you should be eating meat and whatnot. Is that right?
I think so. Because she had some really good stuff she was saying and funny random shit. And I was like, oh, I love this Nana. Like just obscure, off the wall, but loving and like trying to listen to him and stuff.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that character, but I guess my favorite is on this one. I'm gonna go with Charlie. Charlie is my favorite character in this.
Fucker.
What?
He was your favorite in the first one too.
No, he wasn't. No, that was Scott. Scott was my favorite. The kid.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Yes, Charlie is the town drunk. Turn
Yes.
bounty hunter.
Bounty hunter. Yeah. We actually get to see him out in space being a badass and fucking help take down fucking aliens and shit.
Wait. I'm confused. I thought Brad
Why?
was the son.
Yes. He was my
You said
favorite in the
Scott.
first one.
Well, the actor Scott Grimes.
Scott
Oh,
Grimes
okay.
played Brad.
Yeah.
And then Charlie, the town drunk turned bounty hunter.
Which is Don Barry Opper.
Okay, so that's what takes it for you in this one. You like that his character, what he gets to go through and do.
Yeah, well, I mean, at one point, like when they say they're going back to Earth, he looks at Ugg and he's like, "You're not going to leave me there, are you?" And Ugg's like, "No, Charlie is bounty hunter." And then what happens? He leaves him there.
But it's so cool how they've like bonded and formed this best friend bond, even though Ugg doesn't seem to have like real emotions or anything like humans do.
Right. Yeah,
Still,
but
still sporting Johnny Steele's face.
yeah, but I mean, it's like his favorite. He sports it through the rest of the fucking series. It's like he just couldn't give it up. Now Lee, on the other hand, is still fucking just picking whoever he runs into. When I first was watching the series with Ben, he was like, "Are there any boobies in it?" Because hey, we all love boobs. And I said, maybe. I can't quite remember. Part 1 does not have any boobies in it, but part 2 does, because Lee decides to look at a Hustler magazine and become the centerfold. At the end, he even has a staple in her stomach. It has to pull out.
That is pretty great.
It's amazing. It's a great joke.
It's so good.
Who was your favorite character, Ben?
Oh, for these movies, I don't have really favorite characters. I have least favorite characters.
We can move to least favorite. Go for it.
I guess for favorite, I don't know. I like the daughter in this one too.
What daughter?
I mean the girl that Brad
The reporter
likes.
girl.
The reporter girl. Yeah.
Inquiring minds want to know.
So my least favorite, I went with Wesley. Tom Hodges is the actor, I believe. Nothing stood out to me. Why are you here? What are you doing?
Stuck out to me so much that I don't even know who the fuck you're talking about.
I don't even fucking. That's what I'm saying. When he was on screen, I'm like, who could care? Who are you? He was somebody involved in the main like group of people trying to fight the critters. I couldn't tell you. I'd have to look at his face.
Fuck. Oh, of course there's no picture here.
No, it's
God
fine.
damn
I'll
it.
look him up. You're fine. You're fine.
You're fine.
I can go with my least favorite character while you're looking it up.
Yes.
Please, Ben. Who is it?
The newspaper boss, Mr. Morgan. He's like a very well-known TV actor. The actor's name is Sam Anderson.
I see his face here, but I don't recognize him from anything else.
So the newspaper boss, the boss of the reporter girl.
Yeah. Do you remember?
That's his official title.
Was
is
that him?
newspaper boss.
Is that the same guy? Is that Wes? Or
No.
Wesley?
No.
No. They're two different people. Was Tom the Wesley guy? Was he just like he was just like a regular dude?
Yeah, he's just a regular dude. Clearly just a tertiary character. It was not memorable.
She really hated him.
I was like, why are you even here?
She wishes he would die.
So there was some deaths in here. Let's go to favorite kill. Speaking of deaths.
Well, I didn't get to pick mine.
Oh, your least favorite. Did you have a least favorite? You love this one.
I do exist, right? Let me pick one. Okay, I'm gonna pick
Now you have to randomly pick one because it's your turn. You don't even know.
I wasn't prepared to answer, but I don't want to feel left out. I'm gonna pick the Easter Bunny sheriff. He was a dick. He was an absolute piece of shit. And
maybe he's Wesley. I don't know.
Wait, are you talking about the sheriff?
Not the old sheriff who retired, the new sheriff who dresses in the Easter Bunny costume.
Yeah, no, the new sheriff's terrible.
Yeah, he's a fucking piece of shit. Fuck that guy. He deserved to get eaten in an Easter Bunny costume. Fuck that guy.
But he was the best part of the movie, though.
It's a great, funny scene.
Is that your favorite kill then, Ben? You like the bit with him in the Easter Bunny costume?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just the whole thing. Like, it's Easter Sunday. He gets killed falling through the window in a church. Like, how do you get better than that?
And then later on, when they're in the church, the window is miraculously fixed.
Right.
It's like it
no
never
way
happened.
that it would be fixed.
So my favorite kill scene, I wrote Hungry Heifer Massacre.
That's a good one.
That to me was the best.
Oh, you know what? Maybe my least favorite character might actually be that creep from the heifer store, the manager, the guy from was he in Revenge of the Nerds?
Eddie Deason?
Eddie Deason?
He's also a real life creep.
Yeah, he's a fucking sex pest. Yes.
Well, I did give his legs in this, his bright, beaming, skinny Casper legs, honorable mention.
Okay, look,
those were pretty glaring.
I could not breathe when Lee decided to switch faces with Eddie Deason.
Oh my god.
And it's so he's running around with thigh-high boots. I could not stop laughing. It was the fucking most brilliant piece of comedy I'd seen in quite a while. Oh, it's so brilliant. Oh,
This movie's peppered with it. It's hilarious.
I'm tearing up now because my whole body just wants to start laughing again because I can't get the vision of Eddie Deason running around in thigh-high boots.
So the last two things I had though that were funny to me is when the sheriff at the end calls the critters a bunch of pussies. When they make the big critter ball and attack the factory or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't get to pick my favorite kill. Fuckers again. Do I exist?
Let's hear
No, you don't exist. You're actually in hell right now.
It's when the critters actually form the giant critter ball, which is, I mean, if you had to up the ante from the first one and get something way crazy, that's the way to go. Like hundreds of critters stick together, form a giant ball full of, biting teeth, and it's rolling through the field, and there's people running in front of him, and a dude falls down, and after it rolls off of him, it's just like his skeleton. Like,
both terrifying and hilarious.
It's fucking great. That is my favorite kill right there.
Fair. I had a lot of trouble looking at, like I said, at that giant critter ball. So I was kind of averting my eyes when it was on screen. But it was really, really cool.
She doesn't like big balls.
Not with teeth. So one thing that made me laugh too, I wanted to throw out there was Fridge Critter when they're doing a little bit of shenanigans and pillaging and looking for food. And he's like, ooh, veggies. Like, I feel you, Critter. I
Wasn't
feel
there
you.
one drinking soap?
I think
Yes,
so.
yes, that's.
And he was
I think
blowing
that's in
bubbles.
this one.
Yeah,
Or is that in part 3?
there's some kitchen shenanigans in this one, so maybe this one.
There's always got to be a shenanigan episode.
So anything else on Critters 2 before we move on?
If you're gonna watch any Critters movie and you can only pick one, I'd probably go with part 2. If you just want to have a lot of fun, but I would put the first 2 together. As a companion pieces, they work really well.
It's the one that if I was watching it with a group of people, that I would pick this one over the first one to watch.
So let's jump to Critters 3.
After their first visit,
Goliarmi, they're here. Hello, them.
you thought they were destroyed. But they returned.
And they're getting bigger.
After the second encounter, you thought the fuzzy devils were dead. But you were wrong.
You're not as smart as you think you are.
The critters are back. They've just rolled into the big city
Oh, safe at home.
in search of new neighbors.
They're aliens.
Aliens in the base.
You have to believe her. They're big, they're huge.
And they're never late for dinner.
We don't have a gun up here or anything like that. How about a meat cleaver? What is eating him? Eat that.
Critters 3. You are what they eat. Open wide.
Which was a couple years later, 1991, also PG-13. And I will note that 3 and 4 shared a budget of $2 million because they were shot either simultaneously or back to back.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of part 3, you even get a to be continued because they knew we were doing part 4. The IMDb plot for part 3: the tiny furball aliens that will eat anything or anyone set their sights on a Los Angeles apartment tower.
Do they though?
Do they? So the weird thing about this one is this one has Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes.
Supposed to be about 15, 16, looks 13 to me in this.
No
Very
way he's
young.
15, 16.
I know, but that's what it's supposed to be, and he looks like he's 12 or 13. We also have Ugg comes back. Charlie comes back.
I was gonna say he always looks like a child. Leonardo DiCaprio, he's an okay actor, but every time I see him in a movie, I'm like, he looks like a small child playing dress up in his daddy's clothes. I never believe him in any fucking film except Shutter Island because he's pretending to be somebody else.
I really liked Shutter Island, and it's not my normal type of movie that I watch.
I did not like Shutter Island.
You're a weirdo.
Okay. So for this one, I will say about Leo, he to me is in a small group of actors, and I put Kirsten Dunst in there as well. Her interview with the vampire performance, Leo in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. When these young actors have a breakout, phenomenal showing, and then you see them do other stuff, and you're like, meh. They had that one role when they were young that was like, what a fantastic child actor. I can't wait till they do more. And then they do more, and you're like, okay. I kind of feel like that's how Leo was. He's nothing special in this. Oh, no. I would not peg him to go on to do Oscar-worthy performances in people's opinion, watching this.
Well, he did get to manhandle that small child and shake him around for no reason. That was...
So they filmed this in LA, and it takes place not in the small town, and it's our apartment building, and the conceit of how the critters wind up here seemed very weird and skipped over to me.
Right. So here's the deal. There's a family traveling in their, what is it, like their RV or their truck, and they stop because their tire goes out, and so they're at a rest stop. And Charlie's there in a hole and jumps out and scares a bunch of children and then threatens them and gives one of the kids a glowing shard, or gives them a shard of crystal. It says, when it glows, you're in danger. And it's like, where the fuck did this come from? This has never been introduced before. And by the way, Charlie, why are you hanging out at a rest area in a hole?
Well, there's a couple answers why that could be happening.
It's like, what were you doing? And then a critter is there already, but it goes under the truck and lays eggs and then leaves, I guess. And then the eggs hatch. So apparently this is somewhere between Potter's Grove or whatever the fuck that small town is called in LA. But it only seems like it's like like an hour difference. Nothing is adding up at this point. They're just throwing shit together to get the movie going. And then they get to the building in LA and the egg hatches and crashes through the window, but then isn't there an egg inside the building? It's really haphazard.
Totally. And what made me laugh though was there's still some comedy beats in here. For me, ranking purposes, this is the 4th out of the 4 for me. This is the bottom of my list.
Same. Yeah, same.
Ben, where did you rank this one?
Well, it was number 2, but then I decided to make it number 3. So it's number 3 for me.
Not the worst for you. Okay. So I didn't like the whole apartment building thing because I felt like it really limits the expanse of where the critters could go and what could happen. It's very small space, which works in some horror movies like Quarantine and things like that, where you're definitely pinned in this dangerous tiny situation. Critters, not so much. I want my critters free roaming. I want things to happen elsewhere.
You want free range critters?
I do. As long as they don't make the big ball, we're good.
Like, I mean, because it's like they could have gotten out at any time. They're not locked in there. They came in through a window. They could have broke through a window. They could be spreading throughout the city.
That was my big question. Why the fuck don't we do that? Well, it's because they had 2 movies to share a $2 million budget.
Yes. Then save the budget for the next one, because that's where they really spent it all.
The upside is, being in this one building, we do get to see how a slumlord operates and how he tries to teach his young child how to be a slumlord as well.
What a slimy fuck. We're also introduced to him at the rest area. When he shows up, I'm like, oh, please let him be in the rest of the movie. Please let him be in the rest of the movie. And sure enough, somehow he is. It's great.
Yeah, Leo is his son and doesn't want to be a slumlord like his dad. So I guess it's good that his dad dies and he gets to take over the family business, I guess.
Yeah.
I did like the Beetlejuice reminiscent opening score with the fun little funhouse twist to the music on this film. I really liked that.
Yeah.
Who did the music on this one? Do we know David C. Williams? Because the first and the second one was really good. I think I remember commenting about this as well. Like the music on this is actually pretty good.
It was fun. It was really
yeah.
fun.
You know what wasn't fun? The song that they sing in the family scenes in the beginning. I hated that.
You don't
Well-
like the family bonding scene, like the bond trap shit?
No, because they made it seem like the dad was a good dad, and then he turns out to be the worst dad.
Yeah, he's a fucking asshole. Well, I mean, I had flashbacks back to Troll 2. Come
Yeah.
on, sing my favorite song. But it's really dumb. But yeah, that guy was an asshole. He never listened to his kids. He never paid attention to his kids. He didn't spend any time with his kids. And what was it that he was doing? Like he wanted to watch TV, I think, at one point. And
His
then the
TV broke, and he made his daughter go get her battery-powered TV.
yes, what a fucking dick.
He was tied with me with Slumlord Dad for least favorite character. They were the dads
Oh, no,
in this
see,
sucked ass.
my least favorite was the superintendent. I hated him.
It was funny as fuck. It was
Yeah,
so
but he
bad.
had, like, a New
It's
York
so
accent
bad.
in LA. Like, what's that all about?
Well, who was your
What?
least favorite, Nix?
It's the dad, the lead dad. He was such a fucking piece of shit. They try to like redeem him towards the end, I believe, but everything he did up until that point was just like, don't talk to me, go away. And it wanted nothing to do with his fucking family. So I fucking hated that dude.
So that segues into me to favorite character because he was so terrible, but his daughter, Annie, who turns out to be our final girl of the movie, she was my favorite because she seemed like the only person, and she's young, that had her shit together and was trying to figure this shit out, how to beat the critters. So
Yeah.
she was my favorite character for sure.
Paid attention and picked up the clues from everything else that was going around her.
So what do you got for favorite characters?
Mine's the same.
The girl?
Yeah.
Nobody knows her name. Just that girl.
Annie.
It's Annie.
Oh, her name is Annie. Okay. I guess I'm gonna go with that one too. I'm gonna cop out and agree with you guys because there wasn't a lot of characters to like in this film.
Mrs. Menzies was kind of cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I had to note for her, she's a Turkeyverse connection for me. She was the grandma or the mom in House, which we covered,
Yes.
that dies
Yes.
in the beginning.
Yes.
She also shows up in other stuff. She was in, I want to say, the beginning of Jaws 2. She was in The Mouth of Madness. Like she did a
I
lot of
was
horror
about to
movies.
say yes.
She's been in a lot of stuff.
In the Mouth of Madness is the one that sticks out where she's got like her husband handcuffed to her leg.
Oh my god, that's the best.
Yep.
Lynn Shay is in this movie though too.
No, she was in
She's in 1 and 2.
I thought she was in it.
She's not on the cast list, and I don't remember her. No.
Oh, she
Unless-
shows up on IMDb on Critters 3.
I don't
It's
trust IMDb for
it's-
shit.
It's archive footage.
Yeah.
They credit people if they use their
okay,
footage.
okay.
It's a flashback.
Yeah. Let's go to favorite kill.
Oh, did people die in this movie?
So not a lot, which is why for me, I went with a critter kill once again. Shocker. The one that gets the flare shoved in his mouth.
Ooh.
That one was brutal. I loved it.
Oh man, see now I'm flashing back to the fucking critter kill from part 2 where it bites on the tire and inflates. And I was just, oh god, what a beautiful scene that was. Okay, but this one, it was pretty bland.
Pretty
The
bland.
Slumlord would be mine probably.
What happened to him?
Don't you remember?
Oh, he got locked. Oh, he walked in. The critters were watching TV. They were watching Julia Child
Yep.
making food, and it was like their food porn. And he walks into the room and gets locked in. And it was at this point where DiCaprio actually had a little piece of meat to feast on himself as an actor, because even though he hates his dad, stepdad or whatever, he still is pounding on the door, and he's trying to save him because he's not a total piece of shit. He still cares about him, even though he's a bad person. And it kind of gives him something to work with. And you can kind of see the inkling that, yeah, this kid's a pretty good actor.
So you mentioned food porn. So there's kitchen shenanigans, of course, in this one. And
Shenanigans.
it's where I noticed that bleach spills on one of them and gives him a stripe
Yeah.
like on his. I was like, really, movie? Instead of just beating around the bush, we're going to actually just say it. We're doing a Gremlins ripoff.
Well, I mean, they kind of done that. Like each Critters one, there's one where they give it a significant physical alteration. Like I think was it part one where no, was it part two where the one got shot with shotgun and its hair got blown off, so it was bald.
Yeah.
Yeah, they try to do that in each one, and yeah, I guess you could kind of accuse them of referencing Gremlins, but I
Yeah,
see it as a continuation of what they've been doing.
it kind of felt like that too with Stripe, but it was still cool though.
So the storyline with this one winds up Charlie comes in and saves the day at the end. He ends up killing them all or all but a couple, and then he wants to kill them, but he gets a command from Ugg, like a signal telling him that he has to save some. He can't kill the species, or what was that exactly?
So all the critters are dead, but there's some eggs, and he's about to blow away the eggs. He gets a call on his little thingy, and Ugg tells him, no, well, we have to save them because they're endangered now. And Charlie's like, but you told me that these guys are bad and we have to kill them all. And he's like, no, but in this case, because they're about to be completely eradicated, we have to at least save the eggs. So we're sending a receptacle to you. And at this point, the credits start to roll. And Ben's like, well, I didn't like those, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, dude, the movie's not over. Hold on. Because
I thought it was.
Right? In between, there's still more movie going on. And then this thing crashes through the fucking roof. How can it crash? He's in the basement.
Yep.
How did it get down there? But anyway, this giant like space receptacle container crashes through, and Charlie's jumping away, and it says "To be continued," like Back to the Future 2.
Yeah. So I did like in the credits though, because I always watch all the credits. It said no critters were harmed in the making of this movie.
Yes. I think that started in part 2.
Okay.
I love shit like that. I've been watching the credits since I was fucking 9 years old, probably. Always hoping for something cute. And like, Phantasm, I think, was it Phantasm 2? It says, this is under copyright. You will be prosecuted and you will get a visit from the tall man.
Now I have to go back and watch that because I never have caught that.
So yeah, I mean, at this point, I was pretty much done with the series. I was like, this was too small. It wasn't very entertaining. There wasn't anything that really stuck out. I was pretty much done. And next came
Critters 4. But before we jump to there, Ben, final thoughts on 3.
Oh,
is he alive?
When Rosalie is putting her laundry down the laundry chute, and one of the critters like puts the bra on his head.
There's so many bras in this fucking movie. Like everybody's obsessed with brassieres.
Well, also the superintendent picks up her bra and he goes, "Ooh." He like makes some creepy
perks of the job, I think. Something.
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
That whole thing with the whole setup was gross. The whole putting your laundry down the chute and it goes to this one spot. Everybody puts their laundry down this. It's like in the hallway,
right?
So what is happening with that?
Yeah, that's what Nick said when we watched it. He was
weird.
Like, everybody just puts their laundry in one big pile. Like that doesn't even make sense.
No. All right, so then we get to part 4, which seemed really odd to me that they jumped the shark and we get an in space entry in the franchise.
All right,
thank you.
Thank
you.
To be continued.
No,
me and Nick have had this argument, and now I have another movie to add.
What
to
argument?
This.
You've seen them wreak havoc on Earth.
Those 2 eggs are the last 2 eggs. You are instructed to place the eggs in the pot.
The last 2 eggs were launched into orbit.
It won't scan. I can't tell you what's inside.
And now they're having a blast
It's going for the pod.
in outer space.
That's the critter. I'm a bounty hunter.
You've been floating around in that pod for over half a century.
The killer hairballs have relocated.
I got him!
Congratulations. Congratulations, Charlie.
You have just murdered the ship.
Get another ship.
It's the only ship, you idiot!
And have a new place to play.
What are these? Those are eggs. They've been busy.
They're dining from an all-new menu of cosmic cuisine.
You know those man-eating hairballs that you do not believe in? They are real close.
I'm leaving.
But they'd rather eat on Earth.
I propose that we just hole up here and wait for them to come rescue us.
Our company.
Hey,
Where are the eggs?
you do not come in here with your goddamn stormtroopers.
Someone must cooperate.
I hear you wanted these?
The eggs.
These are the last ones.
Critters 4. They're invading your space.
Chill out, asshole.
Yeah, it jumps the shark and we're in space, and you're like, wait a minute, this was to be continued from the apartment building.
Well, hold on. What the fuck is wrong with both of you? This series started in space. It was the opening scene of part 1. They come from space. They live in space. They are an entire fucking thing in space. Why is it so out of the ordinary that we would end up back in space?
5 minutes in the first movie. Then this entire fourth entry is in space on a ship in the future. This whole thing. To me, that's the Jump the Shark space movie. Just like Jason X.
Thank you.
You guys are
Jason
weird.
X.
No, it doesn't. No, Jason X is a great fucking movie.
In fairness, it is. but for Critters 4, I did rank it third, and we'll get to the reasons why in a minute. Where did you guys put this one?
It's 3 for me.
Well,
Ben, did you ever get to watch the whole thing?
Okay, so in shit show fashion, I only watched half this movie. I fell asleep while we did a watch party, and I never finished it. So I'm not gonna have too much to say about this.
I even sent him a link so he could catch up before the recording today.
But I will say that I love that Brad Dourif is in this.
Yes.
And also Eric Dare, who is in Twin Peaks. He's the bad guy boyfriend in Twin Peaks. The guy with the ponytail who looks like he's a porn star.
Yeah, the asshole.
So we also have Ugg is back, Terrence Mann. We have Charlie's back. We have Anders Hove. Is that how you say his name? From the Subspecies films?
I think.
Yeah,
he's the deck. He's the
captain.
Deck. Yeah.
So Angela Bassett shows up in this.
Yeah.
Which is
It
crazy.
was right before What's Love Got to Do with It. And then Brad Dourif, who this was after Child's Play 1 through 3 and Exorcist 3. I love that he embraced the genre, horror and such, because I love him. He's one of my favorite actors of all time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, even Spontaneous Combustion, which is a Tobe Hooper film, is very underrated. It's interesting. It's got a lot of great ideas going on in there.
So Critters 4, 1992, like we said, back-to-back release and filmed and release. IMDb plot for Critters 4. After being cryogenically frozen and then waking up on a space station in the future, the critters aim to have the unwitting crew for lunch.
That's a nice, simple way of putting it. Now, again, I'm gonna circle back to you guys are weirdos because this all makes sense.
I wear it like a badge. It's fine.
Critters started in space. It's always had sci-fi elements. We know that it has things to do with space. Charlie put the eggs into the receptacle, and he's an idiot and crawled right in and all that and got sealed up and shot off into space. And he's been in there for years, and somebody picks him up as a salvage.
Let me put a pin in it because I have a question for you about that.
You're a pin.
Pinhead. He gets caught in there, but the eggs are frozen. He is not. Because they don't thaw him out, right? They open it and he jumps out like, hey, thank God you saved me. He wasn't frozen.
It's very cold in space.
How did he survive more than 3 days without food and water? Explain that to me.
We're supposed to assume that he was also frozen.
Okay.
He just thawed out really quick.
I'm going to argue science in a fucking Critters movie, bro.
I'm
going
gonna
to argue it.
I'm going to argue budget. They didn't have the budget to show this shit. Anyway, so for him to be in space and shit, it makes sense. I can't believe I'm defending Critters 4. It's so stupid. So stupid. But it makes sense in the sense of the whole series.
I suppose he could survive 50 years with no food and water. We'll roll with it.
No,
it's fine. And he's in space. It's fine.
You say that it's the series jumped the shark because it's in space now, but it's always been set around and in space. It's always had sci-fi shit going on. Come on.
I will say, even though this movie isn't as funny as 2 and 3 try to be, I did laugh at some of the lines, some of the delivery. Charlie's goofy as fuck as usual. They did do a weird thing though, where they tried to make some of the characters have serious sides and real issues. Like when Angela Bassett's character is in the shower and she karate chops fucking pervy captain because he tries to get in the shower with her. I was like, whoa, this is like lighthearted PG-13 Critters movie. What are you doing? But there were some jokes and some laughs, I thought.
Yeah, well, Brad Dourif dealing with the ship computer and stuff. There was some funny stuff there. Brad Dourif, actually, every time he's on screen, it's just like, yes, let's keep doing this.
Brad Dourif in this is so good. I mean, obviously, I didn't see the ending, but like for the shit that I did see, he's the best character in this movie by far.
I did like his name. They pulled an Ugg Lee type of thing, and his name is Al Burt.
Oh my god!
I was like, really? They're my favorite characters. I'm going to jump right to that. Angela Bassett and Brad Dourif, because Angela Bassett makes it to Final Girl, and Brad Dourif makes it pretty fucking far into the movie. Yeah. Every time they're on screen, you can see, honestly, even in this, their star power, their potential. I couldn't take my eyes off of them when they were on screen. I was like, here's the movie. These two are the movie for me.
Yeah, you can tell this is probably where a lot of the budget for the two films went. They paid for even, for better actors in part 4 than they did for part 3. Part 3 felt like a serious direct-to-video one. This one felt like you could have actually released this into theaters, I think.
I would have probably seen it if I was into this at the time, and the whole space thing is fun. Yeah, I was giving it shit about I thought it jumped the shark, but it was really fun, I think, to take it in a different direction. The apartment building didn't work for me in a different direction, but going into space, this did work for me. I liked the contained setting here because it gave me, dare I say, alien vibes. Like you're trapped on a ship and there's a threat. I kind of like that claustrophobic feel in my horror movie, loosely used.
Well, and you throw in like all the subterfuge and the captain and what's going on with the bounty hunters. Why is he still fucking have the face of an 80s hair metal band? Serious questions like that.
Hard hitting, inquiring minds want to know.
They do.
So I like when the critters are on the rampage toward mid the last 2/3 of the movie, and somebody said, Ethan, who's Ethan? Paul Whitthorne. He says to Charlie, what do these things look like? What are we looking for? And Charlie's like, have you ever seen piranha? They look nothing like a piranha. I laughed so much at that.
I think this is also the one where he tries to describe how critters will attack you. Like he gives them like a breakdown. He's like, they'll come for the face or whatever. And it's like, dude, I've seen critters go for people's balls. I mean,
and calf meat, nice juicy calf meat. Yeah,
they love legs. So yeah, I mean, it's like, okay, it's cool. We're trying to give it something, but it doesn't add up with everything else we've seen.
True.
But yeah, I was upset when Charlie showed back up in this movie. Actually, I have to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
What, you felt like they just didn't give him a good enough arc or part?
I didn't want him there at all. I was enjoying like the dichotomy between all of the characters up in space, and was kind of interested in what was going on there. And then I'm like, oh fuck, they're gonna open that thing and Charlie's gonna pop out. Oh man.
So he was not your favorite in this, is what you're saying.
He's in this movie that he is going to be my least favorite character. Yes.
Oh,
Wow.
what?
Yeah.
What?
How over the captain? The captain is terrible.
Oh, he's a fucking dickhead, but he was actually, I was interested when he was on the screen. I wanted Charlie to go away.
Okay. So who was your favorite?
Well, it's got to be Brad Dourif.
Yeah, okay. So we all agree on that.
Yeah.
So least favorite, I have Captain Rick. I think, yeah, he's awful and his death is fucking gross and awesome. Least favorite, I'm assuming, Ben, for you was also the captain based on what you just said.
Yeah, no, for sure. He has
Okay.
like he has no redeeming qualities.
I mean, if we're going by, the character's like redemptive, or, whatever, then yeah, okay, the captain would be the worst. But I'm talking like the worst character in the movie that I could do without because I don't enjoy them when they're on the screen. Well, that's fucking Charlie. I did not want him in this movie.
That's fair. My ranking was just, who was the biggest piece of shit? Definitely the captain. Maybe I would feel differently if they hadn't included him trying to get in the shower with Angela Bassett scene.
Oh my god, that scene was so creepy.
Well, I mean, who wouldn't want to get in the shower with Angela?
Oh my god.
Agreed, but it was still made him a fucking gross perv. I was like, oh, I don't like this guy. Which
Well, he was
the
creepy
goal.
with her the entire time.
Very
right
true.
from the beginning.
Very true. So let's jump to favorite kill to get that out of the way, because honestly, there weren't that many good ones in this movie, except for that captain with the gross mouth situation. But I actually, again, put a critter as my favorite death, the frozen exploding critter. I love practical effects. So that absolutely was my favorite kill. This movie had some fun moments. I think kills were not among them. They should be in a horror movie, I think.
Well, I gotta say that kind of like was a precursor to the Jason X, frozen kill as well. I kind of that was probably my favorite as well. Ben probably didn't get to see any kills because fell asleep before the movie kicked in.
That's all right. He can have a pass on that one. This one time. Were you guys getting or maybe Ben, you didn't see this part, the trash compactor when they're the disposal tube thing? Were you getting like Star Wars trash compactor scene vibes from that at all when they go down the disposal chute?
Yeah, I think I had because we watched this with Dave the Albatross, and I think he and I kind of brought that up while we were listening to Ben snore. It was very rhythmic. It was just like, and it was like I started to get really relaxed. Like,
you should have him record that for you as your white noise to calm you down.
Yeah.
So I have been told by multiple people that my snoring is actually calming, which it's not super loud. It's just like very like it's like almost like a heavy kitten purr. Like
yeah. I would describe it that way. Yeah, this is a great topic.
Maybe I should do ASMR.
Right? So okay, we covered deaths. Oh wait, next, did you say what your favorite death was?
Yeah, the frozen critter, because it's a precursor to Jason X.
Okay, groundbreaking. This franchise doesn't get enough credit. So what else you got to say about this amazing motion picture?
I mean, for me, yeah, this is number 3 for the original quadrilogy. 1, 2, and 4, and then 3. It's really impressive what they did on such a small budget. They have some really powerful actors in here doing the best that they can with what they're given. It's just too bad that Charlie shows up. They do give him a scene where he realizes how far in the future he is and everybody else is dead, but he just kind of ignores it after that and goes on. So it's like they don't do a lot with that character. And that's why it's like we could have done without him being in here at all. He could have put the eggs in and it takes off and ends up in space and is rescued years later.
He kind of does the exposition dump, like kind of explaining to them what these things are and how to kill them or whatever. And
we could have had the bounty hunters fucking do that, or the corporation. Now they're treating it like, the aliens, Wayland Yutani Corporation, where they want the Cryes for this, that, and the other. I mean, they could have shown up and or talked to them on the fucking video conferencing call or whatever. There are 25 different ways you could explain what a critter is. We didn't need fucking bumbling ass Charlie.
It is so weird to me that he's one of your favorite characters in one of the movies, and then you just don't like him at all. That's such a weird thing to me.
He didn't need to be in this film. He didn't need to be here. He was extraneous. And I dreaded every minute of knowing that he was coming. It was like, in a horror story, you're like, oh man, something bad's going to happen. Something bad's going to happen. And in this case, it's Charlie showing up in the movie. Sorry, rant over.
So you put it 1, 2, 4, 3. That's your overall. I also am a 1, 2, 4, 3. And Ben, you are
2, 1, 3, 4.
2, 1, 3, 4. Okay.
Damn, 3 over 4. That's amazing.
He likes a slumlord. What can he say?
I just really like the humor in 3.
That's fair. The audience sort of agrees with you. The Rotten Tomato score for part 2 is 31 critic, 37 audience. Part 3, 0 critics for part 3, but 23% audience. So, and part 4 in space, we've got 3 reviews with no score logged for critics, not even a 0, and 18% audience.
Jeez.
All turkeys.
Bunch of dumbasses.
All right, final thoughts overall on the franchise before we move on to our honorable mentions.
I would say, this original run of these 4, definitely 1 and 2. You can skip 3 and 4. You don't have to touch those at all. But if you're willing to give it a shot, go with 1 and 2. They are really creative and not what you're expecting if you're coming into it thinking it's a Gremlins ripoff. They really do their own thing. And they're, especially with 2, with all of the humor that they threw in, it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun, everybody. And everybody likes fun.
That's so the takeaway.
We should go have some fun.
Ben, overall thoughts on the franchise?
I think this is one of the more solid franchises. I mean,
it's
everybody
short.
Talks about Hellraiser. I would put this over Hellraiser. I'd rather watch these than the Hellraiser movies.
Hot take. You heard it here first.
Well, I mean,
okay.
When you start dealing with the Hellraiser films, it becomes a chore because they don't stop, because they crank one out every year or so in order to keep the copyright. So you end up with shit like Hellworld, Lance Henriksen got a paycheck.
I was like really struggling to finish them.
Dude, it gets really bad. At least this one's short and sweet, and they all always kind of like stuck to what really, tried to make them work.
What I'm hearing from you, Ben, is you want to be invited back to cover the Hellraiser franchise.
No, sorry, I'm gonna take. That's a hard pass.
I'll do it.
You are a sadist.
I'm a cinemasochist.
Sorry.
I love words like that. People ask me my music taste, and I'm like, I'm polyamorous.
Oh, wow.
I love words like cinemasochist.
That is a good word, though.
All right. So overall, my takeaway, first time seeing them at 50 years old. Critters 1 and 2, if you like sci-fi, fun, schlocky, cheesy horror/comedies, absolutely watch them. I agree with Nick's 3 and 4 you could do without. However, if you can tough it through 3 and you're a completionist, you will not regret watching 4, I think.
See, I don't think you could skip 3. I like 3. I think 3 is good. I almost put 3 above 1.
Oh my God.
Let's settle down.
I mean,
let's
we talked
carried
about
away.
I told you guys that.
I know. I mean, you can skip 3 though, because 4 gives you the recap at the beginning. So you don't even need to have seen part 3. It just fucking throws you in space. Here we go.
All right. So let's move on to our honorable mention, Critters Attack, which was the 2019 sci-fi movie.
In 1986, they invaded our world.
Drea, did you see that? I think it was an alien spaceship.
Don't be weird, fella.
Now they're back.
Hello?
And hungry for more. Christ. They're furry.
Oh, he's so cute.
Ferocious.
What the hell is that?
And they love
What's that sound?
fast food.
Aliens are real.
Hey, Drea, how's babysitting?
It's going great.
telling me this one's good?
Everyone is on the menu.
We're all gonna die tonight, aren't we? Who the hell is that? I don't know, but that's a really big gun.
Critters attack.
Also a turkey. Rotten Tomato critic score 41%, which is better than the
What?
other.
How
Or-
is that possible?
Audience though of 28, not a family.
How is that possible?
I
Oh.
know. So the only
That's-
thing about this I found enjoyable was Dee
That
Wallace
it ended?
coming back from part one, the mom from part one. But I thought they did it in a weird way, not a good way. They shoehorn her kind of in to be the Ripley-esque final girl. Let's come in
Yeah.
and blow these fuckers away. And you're like, you're only in it like 3 scenes.
Yeah.
And then you come to the
we
finale.
talked about that.
Yeah, I was like the whole time I'm like, she's gonna do something, right? She's gonna do something. She like drives by everybody being attacked by critters and goes, yep, they sure are being attacked by critters, and then drives off. It's like, why is she here? It doesn't make any sense. Plus, they don't even call her by her actual like original name from the first one. They
Yeah.
call her Aunt D, I guess because of copyright shit. And so it's like she's supposed to be the same character, but she's not really. Like,
Yeah.
where did she get all this technology from? Why is she acting like a bounty hunter? This role seems like it was written for Charlie.
Or
Correct.
I would have even taken Ugg at this point with his frosted tips still in play in 2019. I would have rolled with it. I did not like Critters Attack. I will not ever watch it again if I don't absolutely. Somebody doesn't pin me to a chair and Clockwork Orange my eyes. I will never watch it again.
I went into this with the lowest of expectations. I saw the cover and I'm like, why do all the critters look so derpy? Like there's something wrong with their faces. It doesn't
It's
look
terrible.
Yeah. And then seeing them in action, they were a little derpy and I don't know why they have that face. It looks weird. It's not the Kyoto brothers anymore. So that's one of the things. They have a totally new effects crew doing this. Kyoto brothers did 1 through 4. And that's why the critters always looked as good as they did. These don't look so great. And it wasn't as bad as I thought. Let's just say that.
Well, it was to me because I didn't write notes on this because I knew we were just going to briefly touch on it. I could not even tell you right now. I don't even remember the plot of this fucking movie. I don't even remember what really the main story was. I just remember a critter with an eye patch who seems to be like the general or something of all the critters.
It's not an eye patch. He is like he had a damaged eye.
Or just a damaged eye. Okay.
Skin coming over it.
But that's all I remember. I could not tell you what the fuck happened in this movie.
Oh, I can tell you. So a unidentified flying object crashes in the woods, and another unidentified flying object crashes in the woods. One of them releases the dude with the fucked up eye, and he eats a man on a bicycle. And I was like, ooh, is this going to be our Charlie? No, he gets eaten. And that's how they're reproducing now. If they eat into you, they can like hatch other critters inside of your body, which is new.
Like aliens. Okay.
But you're dead when they burst out. So that's going on. And then there's a bunch of little kids, which by the way, there's this girl, she wants to get into Leroy College. She gets denied. She has a little brother. She gets offered to babysit like the history fucking professor's kids.
No, the dean of admissions.
No, she's like on the admissions board, but she's like the history professor.
Okay.
I remember now. And she's got the bitch that's giving her shit.
Yep.
The girl that she used to be friends with. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. So she takes the babysitting job, and her brother is like, oh my God. Oh, that's where Trissy or whatever her name, like the daughter of the
Trissy
or something. I don't know. I'm terrible with character names.
That's even bad for a made-up name.
No, her name is Trissy. It is. I'm looking at it right here.
It's terrible.
But he gets all excited and he's like, oh man, I want to perv on her. And she's like, okay, you're coming with me. And then when we show up and we see Trissy, she looks like she's like 9 years old. And it's like, whoa, what kind of fucking shit is this? But it turns out, like, once she stands up and all that, they're about the same age. So anyway, they decide to go on a hike in the park. And that's where they find a female critter.
Bianca.
That's right, the white one.
Bianca.
Yeah.
You're a tough little girl, aren't you? All right.
We should name her.
How about Snowball?
That's not very original.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's see what you come up with. What about Bianca?
I like that.
Yeah. Bianca it is then.
All right, let me get my phone so we can take a picture with us and Bianca.
Okay, hurry up. I think she likes it.
Oh, she was cute.
What? She was awful looking.
Oh, she was adorable.
I hated the design.
Fuck both of you.
You guys are.
I loved her.
I hated the design.
It was. Oh my god!
If they had made a plushie of her, I would want it. She was that cute. I remember now. Anyway,
turns out that all the other boy critters, they're trying to hunt her down for some reason. I don't think it's for mating. I'm not sure. They're not really clear. But Bianca.
Oh come on, it's clear. They're like sniffing the air. They're trying to.
Well, she wants nothing to do with it. So I mean.
She's the quote unquote good one that helps defeat the quote unquote bad ones at the end.
She's a quote unquote badass and can just annihilate fucking the critters if they come near her. Like she has like big long claws and shit. But you rarely see it. First time we know that she killed a critter, we just walk in on the aftermath and it's like, did you do this? And I'm like, I guess maybe they couldn't afford it. But then later on she starts like slicing off heads and shit, and she's total badass. And then Aunt D lives in a totally different town, but she's got all this high-tech equipment so she can keep track of krites. She's got like a secret basement with computers and whatnot.
Fucking stupid.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. She was not a bounty hunter. She didn't go to space. She shouldn't have any of this technology. It doesn't make sense. So she's going to the town and driving by and watching things, and then she shows up at the end, and I don't know. And then the movie ends, thank God.
Yeah, it's not memorable to me. I mean, the female critter, now that you remind me, I did love her, but the rest of it, no thanks.
I will say, as bad as this movie is, it is light years better than the TV show.
Yes.
So let's move to that.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Nobody asked me.
Asked you what? You clearly did not like this movie. You clearly did not like it.
I still have things to say about it. They brought back the giant critter ball.
Yeah. I was thrilled about that.
Yeah. I should have been.
Doesn't want to talk about it.
I should have been happy about it, but it was not implemented all that great at all. Oh, wait. There was some fun shit in this flick. The douchebag college guy, where it's like, we got to go get the keys. I'm really fast at running. I did the 200K diddly doo. He takes off his shirt and he's like, I'm gonna go run and get those keys. And he runs out. Then he's looking at him and waving while he's running. It's just the funniest fucking thing ever. And then the next scene, he's running back the other way, being chased by the giant ball. That was funny. That was a good scene.
If you say so.
I do.
Yeah, let's move on, shall we, to Critters, a new binge from 2019 also. They did one season, 8 episodes. Each one is about 10 minutes long. I found it on the high seas streaming. So the links weren't all good. I was only able to watch the first 3 episodes, the first 30 minutes.
Oh, you lucky bitch.
So I don't know.
Yeah, you seriously lucked out.
I don't know what happened. So if you could briefly, and I mean briefly, please recap it for us who don't know.
Okay, so, all right. First of all, I have to say that Gilbert Gottfried is in this movie. and he is killed off very quickly. And that was the most disappointing thing ever, because you could tell he was just like winging it, man, and just like making up shit on the fly. He's really funny in the brief scenes that he's there. So there's a lady and her son. Her son likes to eat. She's always telling him not to eat. And fuck, how did the critters show up in this one, Ben? We just watched this last night.
They show up in the first episode, I believe.
All right. This one, so the previous one, Critters Attack, did not really understand critters very well. It did not understand their species and all and deal with it all that great. This one knows what the critters are, but it is so fucking over the top because it's like a puppet show. Like, we open with the critters in a spaceship and they're like, oh, we got to go to Earth for some reason. They're talking to each other. They look like the Minions. Like, each one has a distinctive
And this
thing.
is the one that has the eye patch.
Yes, yes. And one has goggles, like the fucking steampunk goggles and shit. So they have to go. They're said that they have to go there to pick up a critter that was left on the planet from last time they were there in the 80s. But don't get your hopes up. It's not really related to the original series. And no eating. They're not allowed to eat.
Yes, I remember that from, I want to say, the second episode, where they go into a vet's office or a pound and they eat through all the animals that are in there.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my God. I was so happy I couldn't watch any more episodes. That traumatized me. I was like, no, show. No.
They did do something a little cute, like, because the leader, he's like, said no eating. And they all roll out the door and he's holding the door for him. And he goes, I'm not upset. I'm just disappointed. Closes the door. So they're trying to do this cute stuff with the critters and make them their own, like individual characters. So anyway, so this fat kid whose mom is a big whore. So seriously, everybody's like, talks about how she fucks everybody in the town and whatnot. He walks in on her fucking the delivery guy. He's gonna enter a hot dog eating contest. He's in love with this girl. And then the series is insinuating that this kid is a critter human hybrid because his mom fucked a critter. As it goes along, it turns
what?
Yes.
It's pretty bad.
The whole time I'm like, are they really going there? Are they really doing this? Turns out that the delivery guy she was fucking was actually a bounty hunter. And there's also 2 other bounty hunters that landed in Australia on a green screen set.
Oh, God, it was the worst.
And then,
it might be the worst green screen I've ever seen in my life.
And they have to run like 9,000 miles to get to America in order to fulfill their mission. And they just keep coming back to them like running all fake and shit on green screen. It's hilarious. It's so terrible. Anyway, it turns out that, yes, his mom at one point in the 80s met the president of Critters, who wears a little shirt and tie. And they were drunk and got wasted. And she goes, oh, roll down on me. And he does, and she starts having an orgasm. So apparently she fucked the president of the critter species and got pregnant, and then all the critters left for some reason.
Can't imagine why there wasn't a season 2. This sounds like gold.
So the kid, this whole time, his mom's been like, oh, you just have dental problems. So he has fake teeth. If he pops the fake teeth out, he has critter teeth in his mouth. And his eyes, like, I guess, I don't know what they did to his eyes, but he has critter eyes and stuff. And that's why he's always hungry. It's not just that he's a big fat fuck, like the show was insinuating. It's because he's an actual critter and he's insatiable.
How did they leave it? Did they leave it open for a season 2?
They go up to space at one point. They kidnap the mom and the kid. And the president of critter species is like, all right, you're going to be part of us and whatnot. And then the bounty hunters kidnap his friends. And so he's like, we're going back. And so they fly back, and the critters, they're like, okay, now we're going to eat. So they eat everybody in town at this hot dog eating contest. And shit, what did happen? Then Ben fell asleep. Oh, they keep on with the loud noises, make them explode, which they introduced in Critters Attack.
Yeah. What were they using? Some kind of whistle or something?
I don't know. In Critters Attack, I thought
The
they were
the
going
air
to use.
horn, wasn't it the air horn and then it runs out, or was that in part 3?
That was in Critters Attack, but yeah, it runs out. And I thought they were going to use the what do you call that big gas pipe thing? What are those things that Scottish people play?
Oh,
Bagpipes. Bagpipes. I thought that was going to be used. They did not. No, this one I can't remember what they used, but they did go again with the loud noises for some reason. Oh, they have a torture device. So if the leader of the critters is upset with what they're doing, he can like touch his little thing on his wrist and get everybody's attention. But if you turn it up too loud, then it's like, punishment mode and whatnot.
Oh, because doesn't he threaten them to say, if you don't behave, I'm going to use this again?
Yes. And he'll turn it up. And so the critter boy grabs it off of his arm and turns it up and blows them up.
I'm so glad I couldn't finish that.
It's bad.
It's awful.
It's like all time bad. Like if I was rating it, I would give it like a 1. I'm not even kidding. It's one of the worst things I've seen.
It was
the green screen alone in the beginning is just it's the worst green screen I've ever seen. It looks like some kids made it like home on their computer.
Maybe they did. I mean, it was intended to be a web series where they would release it on online, and then for some reason, the original studio that commissioned it said, "Yeah," and I don't blame them. And so Shutter picked it up and put it on there and premiered it there. Yeah, I feel so bad that I shit on Critters Attack so much because it is
like I said,
better.
Critters Attack is a masterpiece compared to this.
Yes.
That's not an exaggeration.
I believe you.
It's bad. I kept saying like this is just awful.
Well, I will send you the it's on Daily Motion. They have all the episodes. I will send you the link so you can finish up. I know you really want
to. I'm such a completist. Please.
You better. It's your duty.
All right. So let's wrap this up, gentlemen. Let's give closing thoughts on the Critters franchise. Everything Critters.
I think I've pretty much summed it up at the end of every film. Watch the first, the second one. They're amazing. They're not ripoffs. They are really their own thing, and they're well worth your time. You will have a good time. They created a whole franchise. Obviously, a lot of people liked it. It's a shame that the funding got less and less, and they could do less and less with it. But God bless Don Barry Opper for pushing this series on and on and on, even if it ended up with Britters, the new, what's it called? The new binge.
The new, which is such a terrible name.
Even if we ended up here, I still respect the guy for loving the series that much that he kept trying to get it made.
Yeah. I disagree with you both about being able to skip 3 and 4. I think that they're all worth watching. I really do. Not Critters Attack, but 3 and 4 is still they're both good in my opinion. Again, this is it's one of those franchises where if you're into sci-fi, it's worth a watch. If you're into, horror, it's worth a watch. If you like comedy horrors, like there's just so much good in this series, and I'm really happy that we decided to watch it. So
I don't regret it.
If somebody like was pressed for time and it was like, I don't want to watch all 4, what should I watch? I would say
that's
1 and
fine,
2.
Sure.
Yeah. 3 and 4, I mean, they were straight to VHS. I'm glad they're there because I always love more Critters. I wish they would come out with like another one now. Like I think they came out with like a new Puppet Master or something recently that was actually supposed to be kind of good. I don't know, but I wish they would do something like that with Critters now. Like, let's actually put a little they're remaking the Toxic Avenger. Like a major studio or something is.
Yeah. I'm actually excited about that, though.
I am too. Now that
I am, because it's got Peter Dinklage in it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, he better be mutated because the only scenes I've seen of him as the Avenger is wearing a mask, a face mask, like eye covering mask. Like you never see him like a full Toxic Avenger.
Maybe they're trying to not give too much away.
But yeah, I would like somebody to do that. It's time to bring the critters back.
Well, on that note, anyone out there listening, if you want to check out any of the entries in all of Critterland, I found by just Googling, they were all available pay streaming on Amazon Prime. I'm sure they're out there in other places. Like I said, I found it on the high seas, just streaming and looking. So
arg,
look them up. I want to thank you both for joining me today. And if you would like, go ahead and recap for the listeners where they can find you and listen to your shit show.
Where do we live? We live we live on Twitter at Cinema Shit Show. We live on Blue Sky at Cinema Shit Show. We have a YouTube page now.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I forgot. We're just putting up some just audio only of our shorter stuff. And it's Cinema Shit Show. I mean, we're really creative when we name our sites. Yeah, but we do have one coming up that you're gonna actually have our faces on. That's gonna
I'm not happy about it.
Next week. Yeah.
Lord help us all.
Yeah.
I literally look like the creature from Eraserhead.
The baby?
Yes, I'm wrapped in a blanket, and all you could see is my head. I don't even have arms.
Well, who did that, Ben? Who
Well, I didn't know that you were
blanket?
going to release the video.
Okay.
I feel like this is blackmail.
And where can everybody listen to Cinema Shit Show?
Spotify, Apple Podcast, pretty much wherever your beautiful podcasts come to your lovely ears. That's where we are, ladies and gentlemen. And guess what her name is? Cinema Shit Show. So we're everywhere. We're spreading. We're like a contagion. We're like a rash you can't get rid of.
But a funny rash.
I hope so.
Amusing rash.
I hope so.
Oh my God.
All right. So we are going to wrap this up. Thank you, everyone out there, for listening. Hopefully, you've enjoyed this trip to Critterville. And until next time, goodbye.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Hey, listeners, Movie Miss here, saying we know you have a lot of options when it comes to podcasts. So we want to thank you so much for listening to ours. Please make sure to find us on our socials and join us. Be part of our bad movie conversations. We want to chat with you. We're on Facebook with an official page, as well as a Let's Talk Turkeys discussion group where you can talk with other like-minded individuals who like bad movies. We're on Instagram at Let's Talk Turkeys. Our Twitter handle is at Gobble Podcast. That's GOBBLEPODCAST. And of course, you can always email us direct. We would love to get suggestions from you of movies you would like us to cover. If you want to be a guest on the show, we would love that. So directly, that's Let's Talk Turkeys, all one word, at yahoo.com.
You're still here? It's over. Go home. Go.
Good God.